This is part 2 of FreeDOS. We last left off by finishing up the apps section. I'm Steve, your host for today, and this is DOS-cember. I'm exploring FreeDOS. FreeDOS has a lot of stuff that comes with it. It's obviously the world has grown a lot since the late 70s, early 80s when DOS came out, and there's quite a lot of stuff going on in here. If you haven't seen the original video, it is linked over there, up there, around there, down there. It's linked everywhere. That's the important part. Otherwise, let's get right back into it. The next thing up, we went through the entire apps folder in the last video. The next thing up is this Blosec directory. I still don't know how to pronounce it. I don't know what it is, but that's what we're here for. So let's figure it out. Fonty. Nice. Blocek. Oh, nice. Blosec config is missing. It was created. System doesn't support virtual memory. Sure it does. Be dangerous in situations when all RAM is consumed. Try using another DPMI server. If you're currently using CWS, you can also disable this check. That's fine. File, open. There's a PNG file. That would be the one. Close file. Fonty. What's in Fonty? Okay. A text editor and image viewer, which is capable to edit files in Unicode UTF-8, so it's very useful for programming web pages. So I guess that means it's Blosec. Excellent. So it's a graphical text editor that runs on top of DOS and also does some image work. Yes, I don't want to save any of those changes. Let's get this window back to where I put it. That was very rude to move my window around. All right, let's do FDOS. All right, what's in this folder? App info bin, CPI, doc, drivers, help, links, NLS, packages, temp, boot, and version. What is boot.mbr? Master boot record. It's empty. Let's work from the bottom up because we can. Bunch of package listings, I guess. That's too big. Let's do a small one. Oh, it's whiptail again. Okay, so this is a list of dependencies and app info and other stuff for different packages that would be installed. So FDOS has a package manager. Nice. NLS, like language files, which would go back to the old NLS func days of DOS. Links. So the MacBook uses that touch bar. The newer MacBooks have the touch bar, and it's hard to find the escape key because it's not a physical key. I'm glad that Apple finally fixed that. These look like they are links to run other programs and not actual programs. C apps, Vim. Yep. That's what they are. Is that in the path? It is in the path. Excellent. Typing, spelling counts. Spelling of things that aren't words counts. Help files in different languages for all of the different programs. Okay. Drivers for HighRAM. High files, HighRAM. Make high set. XMem. That's not in English, but it's showing me memory information. I can tell that. Make high set. That's also not in English. HighRAM, not HighRAM. HighRAM. Finds available RAM areas, auxiliary memory card, shadow RAM, etc. Between A1000 and F1000 into upper memory. Okay, that makes sense. Kind of gives me a little display of what the memory chart looks like. RAM, ROM, video RAM. Video RAM's taking up a big chunk of upper memory. EMS. Free memory. There's not a lot of free upper memory. And then areas that are excluded. Oh, I see. It wraps around. So it actually goes around twice. So the upper row is A1000 through C700, and the lower row is C800 through F1000. So yeah, video memory. Then there's some ROM. Then there's some RAM. Then there's some EMS. Then there's some free memory, which should have been consumed. And we're in MS-DOS version 7.10. I guess that's the equivalent. iLoad probably says to load some TSR into high memory. HILFMIR. Computer Solutions Software. Stop. Yep, more German stuff. My files. Copyright.txt. Make high set info. There's an info file. Upper memory extender for older x86 CPUs. Users who really want to free the last byte of memory can try the old HighRAM package. Best used in combination with UMB PCI. HighRAM is similar to UMB PCI, but from 93, and made for 286, 386, 486. Okay. And it was made on July 7th, 1999. Using HighRAM.exe, you can save 1K of low memory in comparison to loading UMB PCI by itself. Wow. Wow is correct. LPT DRV should be like line printer driver. Driver for computer parallel ports allow to change easily the logic states of any pins, either manually or automatically, or... Oh, cool. So it turns your parallel port into a GPIO port, like you'd have on a modern Raspberry Pi or something. 5. Wow. NTFS. Change NT password. I don't have any NTFS file systems to mess with. NTDump, NTDir, NTgrep. Change password of user in the NTSAM file. Nice. So there's some utilities here that can mess around with NTFS file systems and manipulate some passwords and stuff. So that would be useful for recovering machines that have Windows NT, NTFS file systems on them, and changing passwords and stuff. So that's nice to have, especially on a live CD, especially on a lightweight live CD like this one. All right. Doc. Expect that to be documentation. Oh, there's a whiptail thing. We're still trying to figure out what whiptail is from the last video. Let's do more whiptail.1. Display dialog boxes from shell scripts. Interesting. Okay, so documentation. It's a good thing we did this backwards. Code pages, yep. And I bet that bin has all the binaries in it. Let's do app info real quick so then we can narrow in on bin. So this is text files with different country codes at the end. DEFR, LSM, TR. So what is LSM? Man, there's a lot of them. Is whiptail here? Which? WPtail. Okay, so these are author Red Hat, DOS port by... Okay, so whiptail comes from Red Hat. That's where it got its name from. This looks like some more files for the package manager. I figured that would be quick. And this one here has a lot of stuff in it. Start out with batch files. There are usually not as many of them. AMB help. Okay. We saw that already. Yeah, so dir.bat doesn't work. That's an old DOS trick, MS-DOS trick. So I'm going to do star.bat instead. cdrom.bat. Show help less. Try driver. CD-ROM, eject, close, lock, unlock, reset, X, CD-ROM eject N, ask CDEX 2.0 if a CD-ROM exists in CD-ROM drive N. Error level 0, OK, 1 failed, or no such drive. Not all drives do all commands. That is true. So this is a batch file that uses some command line tools to do some CD-ROM drive functions. That's cool. cdrom.bat. Show help, show less. Built-in English translations. The echo. Try driver, lots of go-to commands. Try and find out what the drive letter is. Okay. Graphics. We're just going to run this one. MS graphics compatibility mode. Printing black and white is white and black. Generally uses /I of this graphics. You have to specify printer type. Okay, so this is going to give you the ability to print stuff out on the printer. There was a graphics command for older versions of DOS, so this is probably doing that. Help. Help goes into that AMB help thing. Keyb is probably going to change the keyboard driver, missing keyboard identifier, to a different language or a different physical orientation. OneLang. Placeholder for language cleanup utility coming next release. Moves a bunch of extra language files that are not for your specified language. Nice. Part_inst. Partition Manager install. This script is going to do the following steps. Make bootable system floppy, create Partition Manager, copy Partition Manager to floppy, save MBR, save information about your partitions, stop at any time by pressing Control-C. We'll press Control-C. It looks like it's trying to make some backups, some recovery type things. CMP. Why did that scroll way off the screen like that? Stamp. Yeah, that's why. Files, attributes, manipulation. Okay. Why would we need a batch file to wrap around that? Error level 2, echo error level 2. If error level 1, echo not. If not error level 1, echo yes. Okay, so this is just some debugging that appears to have been left over. Welcome. I bet that only echoes out those commands. Those text bits to be on the screen. Edit welcome.bat. Not exist vecho, go to simple message. Lang file vecho gpt. Lang file auto done config file auto file as help. Yeah, just a nice pretty little thing to say welcome to the operating system. That's the last batch file. Com files are usually pretty sparse as well. But nope, we've got pages of com files here. Jeez. There we go, just the A ones. A and B. Look for A and B files. File, find, star.amb, entire disk, find it. Okay, I have no idea where that is. C:/FDOS doc A and B help. Where did we find those files? Alt F7. Okay, so we're in that directory. amb fd help de.amb. Okay, that makes sense. So amb is the viewer for the hypertext files that make up the help system, and then these are DE, EN, ES, and FR, so German, English, Spanish, and French versions of the files. Real mode interrupt vector has been modified. Nice. Spelling counts. Ask echo. Okay, so it does echo something. .bat, that's weird. No implicit spaces, use character instead of to mark prompt. Help me, yes. Okay, that was weird. All right, I don't understand what that's trying. I understand what it's trying to do. I don't understand how to get it to do what it's trying to do. Assign. Replace a drive letter by another. Okay, so this is the same as the DOS assign command, where I can assign one drive letter to be another drive letter, and then there's substitute and join and all that stuff from DOS. So assign would assign a second drive letter to your primary drive letter. Let's try assign R equals C:. So now we do R:. And so now I have an R drive, which is technically pointing to my C drive. Substitute, we'll probably get into substitute and join later, so I won't talk about those. So assign /u. Yep, so that removed it. Good. A trib would change file attributes or display file attributes. Excellent. Boot fix. Dump default BPB and boot sector. Boot sector checking utility. Let's do boot fix C:. Volume is FAT32. Reading current BPB. Reading boot sector. Volume is FAT32. Okay, I don't know why it did it twice. All right, let's do /d. Oh, there's a lot more information now. Cool. Bound test. Program to test CPU bound instruction bugs. Issue a bound instruction to your computer's CPU if you've not installed the proper patch. This may either cause your computer to lock up or may cause your printer to print reams of paper until you turn off the computer or the printer. If you have installed a proper patch, your computer should reboot. So if I press yes, my computer should reboot because this computer is way modern. Nope. It caused the computer to lock up. Let's reboot. So apparently the bound patch has not been installed. bsum. Computes BSD checksums of files. All right, there's a BSD checksum. This is useful for determining if a file has been changed. So let's copy con test.txt. This is a test. All right, so then we do bsum test.txt. Copy con test.txt. Yes, I want to overwrite it. This is a different test. bsum test.txt. And now this checksum should not match the last checksum, and then we know the file's changed. So the checksums don't match and the file has changed. One file removed. And that's the end of those. Cal. Shows a calendar. Call vir. Run one program in a new shell using compspec with a fake DOS version number. So this is like setVir was for DOS. Apparently, when you got to a certain version of DOS, DOS programs thought that that was way too advanced and just gave up running. even though there wasn't really any problem. So you could set the version to be something fake. So like if you got to DOS version 5, I guess this would be better explained this way. DOS 4 was pretty buggy and people didn't like it. So a program like WordPerfect would notice that you were running DOS 4 and say, I ain't running under DOS 4, fix this mess. And then you could tell that DOS 4 would have been okay with WordPerfect, or you patched it, or you just wanted to take the risk anyway. So you type in setver wp.exe 3, and then when WordPerfect ran, it would have been tricked into thinking that it was DOS version 3. So this looks like it's the same kind of thing. What's next? cc-uide, that's hard to type. cc-uide, question mark. It's not a very big file. I guess it's set in something, cdrom.com. This looks like what cdrom.bat was using, cdrom2.com. This will actually play audio, where the old one did not. cgen error. Terminating with error code 1, 2, 22. Okay, so you can generate error levels. So there's a command com here. There's a command com there, and they're the same thing. Comp, command.com. And the files compare. Okay, so comp still does the same thing. CPU cache. CPU cache is currently enabled. Can we disable it? Tempted to change the status, and it's currently disabled. Tempted to change the status, and it is currently enabled. Excellent. So now I can manipulate the CPU cache inside of a batch file and determine what's going on. So if I wanted to slow my machine down, I could turn it off. And if I didn't know that it was on or off, I could either check it and then do the thing, or I could just do CPU cache on, which should say it's currently enabled, and then just leave it enabled because it's already enabled. And I should be able to run that all day long. Yep. That's a neat tool to have. CPX to CPI, that sounds like a code page change tool. Yep. I don't have any code pages that need change-ins. Debug, all right, we're all familiar with debug. Yep. Dump F1000, dump C800, dump C1000. I'm just dumping the contents of memory and they appear to be empty. Quit. Debug X. Okay. Nice, there's tab completion. Debug XD. It's a different prompt. It's dumping a different memory area. Debug X. So debug XD thinks it's also debug X. Deltree is still here, yep. Default build of Deltree, the root safety check is enabled. Okay, what do we have to lose? Deltree C:\\. Delete directory Q. Well, it didn't prompt me and say, hey, idiot, don't do that kind of thing. So who knows whether it would have done anything one way or the other. Deltree dev load, device load DOS device drivers. Okay, I had a command like this that was a utility called ldevice that I showed in a previous video, but this looks like it's going to try and load a device driver. Nancy, dev load Nancy.sys, loading Nancy. So we loaded it. Can we unload it? Auto mode drive letter, try to load the driver in UMB. Where did it stick Nancy? Nancy was stuck in low memory. So let's reboot and see if we can load that in high memory. Because we didn't put anything in to remove, to be able to remove devices. Was that /u? /h. And Nancy was loaded in upper memory. So it works. It does the thing. There was room. Normally you'd have to load those in config.sys and you'd have to reboot the machine to load them, so dev load's a shortcut to be able to load device drivers in memory without having to reboot. Disk comp. How long is this going to take? DOS cannot read this disk, sorry. Maybe there is no disk in drive, or it is a network or CD-ROM, which disk comp cannot use. Okay, so that would be comparing contents of one disk to the contents of another disk, and usually you do this on floppy disks. DOS LFN is long file names. And that just loaded a terminate and stay resident program, and there are no long file names there. LFNMS enabled. Okay. I don't have anything with long file names to show you what long file names look like. Drives. Show details about available disk drives A, B, C, D, E, 32. Oh, that's nice. So the A drive and the B drive are floppy disk drives, and there's nothing in them currently. The C drive is the hard disk we're working on. That's a 2 gig drive. The D drive is the remainder of the 8 gig drive that we created in the first video. And we formatted that for 6 gigs to see if there was a way to get past the 4 gig file size limitation. And apparently there is. And then the E drive should be CD-ROM. And that went through all of the available drives specified by last drive. So let's do edit /FD. Oh, that broke. Why did that broke? System halted. Reboot or power off now. Let's reboot. I tried to edit the config file in the root directory after loading a device driver. So let's do edit /FD config. So the tab completion wasn't the problem. Let's see if it is the device load. FDOS bin devload /h nancy.sys, and it's loaded. And then let's do edit /FDOS FD. Okay, so it was something else, but it's on video, so we can try and recreate it by rewatching the video and trying again. And I wanted to change last drive to be E and see if the drives command stopped. Stop that. See if the drives command stopped checking after the last drive, or if it just checked everything. Drives, it does. Okay, so it was respecting the last drives command. Now I need to put that back, because we might need a drive letter later greater than the amount of drives that are currently in use. Stop that. It's nice to have a reboot command at the DOS prompt. DRV on, drive on. Okay, so that is a very small program. No idea. Yep. Dump env. That's a weird way to dump the environment, but I'll take it. It output more than one screen worth of stuff. There's all the environment variables, and there they are all again. I guess it's going to tell you how much memory they each take up. But you can see the environment in a more human readable format by typing set. So there's got to be some like developer's reason for having that. All right. Edict, nice. Enhanced disk image creation tool, nice. You can make disk images. Edict /d c:/f d:/c drive dot test. I'll just leave no extension on there. /p0, no additional passes. Override bias settings, no. Not overriding any whatevers. Drive C unknown drive type. Just get buffer, DOS error code, insufficient memory. We got plenty of memory. This might be for making floppy disk images, and it's probably telling me that my 32 megs of memory isn't big enough to make an image file of a 2 gig partition. That makes sense. I don't have any floppy disks to test out that theory, but that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Execute to binary. Yep, that's an old DOS command. Source code's available under Sybase Open Watcom public license. So it converts an executable file to a binary file. What do we got? FAM. What's up, FAM? That seems to echo back what I typed in. Okay, so it's a file format converter. FDAPM, spelling counts, found resonant power driver, savings mode, BIOS, APM interrupt hooks, CPU was idle 53% of the time. APM detected, version compatible to APM 1.2 found, AC power status, mains offline, battery's quite empty, and the battery fill percentage is 100. It's quite empty. Find, prints all lines of a file that contain a string. So this is the same as the DOS find command. It will find strings inside of find. So find, /? To get some text to work on, pipe to find, FreeDOS find version 3.0. Find disk. There it is. Public domain disk finder. Search label on drive C through Z. Returns 1 through 4, A through D. Matches. 0, no match. Check only one drive. Find disk D drive. No match. Find disk FreeDOS 2021. Match on C. Okay. FN tool. File name convert to absolute, canonical long name, canonical short name. Okay, so this is working with long file names. form. No layout file specified. Form layout file. We might find layout files later. There's a lot of commands here. Gen error. I think we did this already. Yeah, so this would probably have an error level set. There was one before that we ran that actually told us what it was doing. Driver to make shift print screen key work so it'll print in PCL mode. Okay, so PCL is Hewlett-Packard's page control language, and if I do graph HP and do the shift print screen key in a graphical program, it will print out a graphic on the printer. Don't have a printer, can't show that to you. Graph PS should be PostScript. Shift print screen, even in graphics mode. PostScript grayscale printers, yep. GRAPHPI, graph pin, okay. Epson mode, so that would be for dot matrix printers. Excellent. Head. It should show me the first few lines of a file. Are there text files in this folder? That was weird. Oh, there's batch files. We can use batch files. Type CDROM.bat. We did this before. This will be a nice long file. All right, so we do head CDROM.bat. And it shows just the first few lines. So this is exactly like the Linux head command. HID SUPT1. Support program to be called from inside many other. Yep, USB. So HID is human interface device. So this is human interface device support for batch files. If you're not pretty familiar with technical details of how USB in general and HID in particular work, this information may actually confuse you more than it helps you, but it's still there for your viewing pleasure. Nice. Excellent. Idle DPMS. Display power management system. Switches off the screen after time. Yep. Screensaver. Ink level. Extended printer services are not supported. Install a program like USB Print into memory. This will tell you your ink fill percentage for Epson and HP compatible printers. Nice. Inline. Okay, so this is going to put text in line with other text. Invoke. Poof. Propagate result. Quiet operation. Redirect standard error into standard out. Nice. This would run a program and do things with its standard error, standard output type stuff. IRQ. I would expect that. It gives me a list of IRQs. Oh, there's no J files. All you people with J's in your name are going to be upset at this. LBA cache is got to do with caching on hard disk controllers. Disk read cache for XMS, allocated 2 megabytes driver. Okay, so now there's a 2 megabyte disk cache installed. So this is going to be like smart drive, but 2 megabytes is small. LBA cache, it takes 7K memory to do that. Localize. Localize message. It's message number X or Y. If not available, the text after @ And finally echoes the etc if any. 0 if OK, 1 if no localize found, or no message XY inside. Okay. Mode. Nice. Mode BW80. Mode CO80. Mode BW80. Edit C:\FD config.sys. Doesn't respect it. Mode CO80. Get back to that. That was ugly. So yeah, the mode command lets you change your screen modes or printer redirection status and a whole bunch of other things that you would work with. If you had multiple monitors, mode normally lets you switch between your monochrome monitor and your color monitor. And obviously, as you saw, it'll switch between 40 column mode and 80 column mode. Row. Nope, don't know what NRO is. In file, out file. So it looks like it's going to convert a file. Unable to open file. Ah. Okay, no idea what that does. PCI sleep, nice. Shows a list of PCI devices. Nice. This is like LSPCI for Linux. Numerical list of all devices. Sleep halts the CPU and puts only D1, D2 sleep capable devices into energy saving mode. Suspends VGA cards. The monitors put into DPMS sleep 2. So this is power saving stuff. So you can do power saving stuff from a DOS batch file. Awesome. PIPE set, pipe set. Nope. Yep. CD pipe to pipe set /s. Current path. Spelled pipe wrong. Hey, we've got DOS editing capabilities. CD. Oh, okay. So the pipe set command takes input from a pipe and then sets environment variable called current path. Let's see if it actually did it or if it just set it out there. Set current path equal to... It did not do it. So it just put it out on a command line. Safe mode, also useful for testing. Yep. Define set separator characters, define set of whitespace characters. So this is for text manipulation and then setting things into the environment. So we do this pipe set thing without the /s. And I'm assuming that it's going to make it into an environment variable silently. And it did. Excellent. So you can take the output of commands and put them into environment variables so that you can then manipulate them more with other commands that manipulate environment variables. Print. Background print utility. Nice. Okay. So what would happen is your printers were very slow compared to how slow your screen was, which was also pretty slow. So if I wanted to print a file, I would, redirect the file to the printer and I would just sit there and wait for it to finish printing, which could take a long time. And then they invented print queues. So there were computers before there were print queues and life was slow. So you could do this print command and it would take the file name that you gave it and then run it through the print buffer in the background in memory and give you back your computer so that you could keep doing other work. PrintF. Okay, so that would be exactly what you would expect PrintF to be if you were a developer. It prints formatted strings. PS2 test. PS2 mouse test. Telemouse compatible. Middle mouse button, left, right, middle. I don't have buttons 4 and 5, and it's giving me XY coordinate motion. I'm trying to interpret the wheels. If I move the wheel fast enough, I get a movement, but that's it. 2 wheels and 5 buttons. And the X is not working for some reason, but I am moving it in the X-axis. Press any key on the keyboard when you want to stop this, and I did, and it broke the system. Escape to abort the program. Let's run that again and see if that happens again. And it broke again. Yep. And now the machine's locked. So we reset. PS2 test. Still no X, and it's keying buttons 4 and 5 for some reason. But it's not crashing now. S always seems to have the most words. Scan test. Yep, keyboard scan codes. ScreenDump. I want to do... I'm thinking it created a file on disk, so I want to do a dir/o, and I want to sort by date and time, earliest last. So is it D- or is it -D? It's going to be -D. And that way the last file... Nope. The first file? Nope. Okay, I don't know where it put the ScreenDump. ScreenDump. Space A. Don't compensate for the prompt. ScreenDump. Dump screen between marked line and cursor line to file. Visibly mark screen line. Oh. Nice. So it's a DOS ScreenDump utility, and you run ScreenDump to mark the screen that mark that you're starting your ScreenDump. You do something you want to dump, and then you run the ScreenDump command again to dump that content out to a file. Interesting. Select. This was the thing that selected your language code pages, etc. for old DOS, and then it became the thing that you installed DOS with, and then it became the bundle of packages, the program that you could get from Microsoft that would allow you to test out software and evaluate software without having to purchase every single Microsoft package ever. And then you were supposed to get a license for stuff. Let's see what this one is. Select a file or directory. Set select equal... Ooh. That's cool. So this looks like it's a way for you to prompt your user inside of a batch file to select a directory, and then it will set that directory as an environment variable, so then you can act on it later on. So I picked the FDOS directory. It didn't change directory, it didn't do anything. It just gave me the ability to pick directories. So /FDOS. Yep. And I'm going to pick app info, set select equal app info. And it didn't actually set it, so it must be running in like safe mode. F, get menu content from file. I, menu included, output, change, append, defined, make set command for environment variable, var, store var directly in environment. Tricky. So let's do select /e. We pick doc, select equal doc. There you go. That is an awesome tool to have for manipulating file systems in batch files. I can definitely see a lot of uses for that in my brain. Select set lock. Set lock. Ooh, it'll turn on caps lock and num lock or turn them off. Set lock CL equals on. It did turn caps lock on. Nice, and it turned it back off. Share. Share probably does the share thing. Installs file sharing and locking capabilities on your hard disk. Yes, so this was a way to, in the early Windows days or the early multitasking days, it was a way that you could open a file and then lock the file so that no other program could edit the file on disk. And then share was a way that you could manipulate that to your balance, to your favor. Don't know of any way to make a real good example, but imagine you were, I imagine you were inside of WordPerfect editing the file, the autoexec.batch file in the root directory. Inside of WordPerfect, you ran a DOS shell, then you went to the root directory and you deleted the autoexec.bat file. The file locks should prevent that from happening because WordPerfect should have the file open and locked. And then you can run share to enable file locking. And if you didn't have that, then you wouldn't have file locking and you could delete the file. Hope that made sense. Share ext probably does the sharing, but puts it into extended memory, extended service, install using always on top technique, install extended service support, use shextctl to control extended services mode. Wow. Share extended control. We had a limit of 8 characters per file name, so that's why that looks the way that does. shcdx86, different version of CDX installed. Yep. shsucdx provides access to CD-ROM drives. Yeah, so this is the Microsoft CD-ROM extensions equivalent for FreeDOS. Slow down. Slow down installed in memory. Windows is not currently running. Hot shift, control alt, beep on changes. It ain't beeping, but that's okay because VirtualBox doesn't emulate a PC speaker, so I wouldn't hear it if it was. Currently using interrupt number 08H, 18.2 Hertz. Times as fast as an XT. Current speed 100% of normal speed or 199 megahertz, 8486. Slow down. Resident slowdown updated with new information. I didn't give you any new information. Okay, uninstall. Be quiet or verbose. Enable or disable. Hotkey. Run at same speed as XT. Slow down /X. Running at 0.51% of normal speed or a 1 megahertz 486. This should take a lot longer. Current speed is 12. All right, so let's do slow down /X and then drc://s. Yeah, you can see it's a little bit slower. It's hard to tell, but it's taken a little bit of time to do that. And then we do /U and it's been removed. Yeah, see, it's just on the screen. Poof. Whenever I press the key, straight to screen. So the slowdown utility works. Slow int 1 has been installed. Slow int U. The computer should now be running very slowly. There's a lot of ways to slow this computer down. I meant to do /S. Yep, it's running slow for sure. I can still type pretty fast, so it didn't slow down the typing input. Slow int 1. So updated with no information. Uninstall. Yep. Stamp. We looked at stamp a bit earlier. File attributes manipulation. So attribute manipulation program, AMP. So it's a way to turn off file attributes like read-only, archive, system, hidden, etc. SV hex. Well, that worked out really well. Yep, no help on that. SV text. Okay, so it's displaying some text. Switch char. Oh, okay. I spelled switch wrong. Switch R. Switch char is a dash file. Okay, so it changed the switch command from a slash to a hyphen. So in case you wanted to use the slash in one of your switches, you'd be able to stop looking at the slash command as the switch and use the other thing, so you could do something like dir dash slash instead of dir slash slash, which wouldn't make any sense. Failed to find kernel file. So I just syst the D drive, which doesn't need to be done. Now copying files, command com, kernel.sys. And it put kernel.sys and command com on there. They're not needed. I just wanted to see if the sys command worked the same way. And it does. It does the same thing. T. So dir. See if I can line up some kind of... Yeah, so there is a way to redirect. So you do like dir pipe to T. And then you can split it into two different directions to go in to do two different things. I don't have a good example off the top of my head, but that's what I'm assuming that is. Thrust. Kind of afraid to brace yourselves. There's a key on the keyboard to stop the... Oh, this must be a joystick tester, and I have no joystick to test. No comments. Tickle. This is not getting any better, folks. Read ahead. Tickler TSR loaded. 9K buffer. Read ahead buffer version. Floppy read ahead is always on. Load LBA cache with flop option enabled first. Do not load high tickle, risk of data loss, DMA problems. Okay, so this looks like it's trying to read ahead on floppy disks for improved floppy disk performance. Don't have any floppy disks to test that with. Timestamp. Okay, so this will add a timestamp to the end of whatever text you give it. Let's remove the space. Yep, so it needs the space there. Okay, might be useful in batch files. Touch is usually used to change the date and time. So this is 3/18/2021, 2:21 p.m. Let's do touch.com. And it is 12/1/2021, 4:45 p.m. So touch does the same thing that you would expect that to do. TR. Okay, yep. So TR is probably the same as the Linux command for TR, where it's going to translate one letter for another. So if I type A, it's going to switch it to B because I told it to. The tree command. There's a lot of stuff on here. Undelete, Uni2 ASCII. There's just one page of views. So let's do copy con test.txt. Can we undelete this file? There it is. And it's gone. No undeletable files found. We can't undelete the file. My fingers were just a little bit over, only for fat file systems, and this is FAT32, which means it might not work. Uni2 ASCII. I would assume this would convert Unicode to ASCII. I don't have any Unicode strings, but it won't convert ASCII to Unicode. And there's no ASCII to Uni, because we already did the A's. And we didn't have this conversation, so there must not be one. Uptime. There's an uptime? There's several uptimes. Uptime 1648. Uptime 0. Uptime 1. Uptime 3. Okay, uptime 3 gave me a different result. 6,001 hour. Up 60,001 hour, 51 minutes, 6 second, 1 user load average. So it's got load averages too. Nice. So uptime does the same thing that you'd expect from the Linux uptime command. USB device. No compatible USB heist drivers installed in memory. Install a program like USB UHCI first, which does exist. There's no UHCI controller. So I have to find the other one. USB drive. There must be a compatible USB DOS driver for up to 8 SCSI compatible USB mass storage devices. Nice. So USB support in DOS. Very nice. USB hosts. There are no USB host controllers installed. USB hub. 16 generic USB version 1 hubs with up to 7 ports each. Must be compatible USB driver installed. USB joystick, USB keyboard, USB mouse, USB print, USB support 1. Okay, so this is a library. USB UHCI, USB UHCIL. There are no, it's the light version. So 16 devices, no isochronous transactions. Okay, so I don't have a USB host controller, so I can't show you those. The ask. Prompt for text to input. Still under development, more to be announced, so it's going to get better. Excellent. When specified and Control C is pressed, we'll exit with error level 200 and return the default value. Override default width of the bar. Okay, so this is a way to ask questions inside of a DOS prompt, inside of a DOS batch file, and then have the key that was pressed show up as an error level. And this was used a lot in batch files to make like on-screen displays with press the letter to do the thing type options. So vChoice, probably the same thing. Can't spell. Oh, that's weird. Reset the screen, see if that was it. It's not it. Oh, that's even weirder. Choose an option, returns an error level of the choice. I personally recommend using auto for any set of choices that you prefix with a letter or number. And it's still in development, so you can do a whole lot more. /td/tr, so it's like it's HTML formatted. Choice options. Color, type. Query for result. When choice is made, its text will be selected item, set foreground text, background text. There's probably some example of this. That will turn up. VCLS. This looks a lot like Norton's batch enhancer. /F, foreground color is blue. There we go. Okay, yep. That's got to be really hard to see on screen. The cursor. I would assume this would move the cursor around or change the cursor to be different sizes, shapes, and colors. Yep, different sizes. V cursor half. V cursor full. Fully compatible with DOSBox. There's no way to store. So I bet this is needing ANSI sys. Nope. That's a small cursor. Sets the cursor to half the height of the text. It ain't doing nothing. So it might be an emulator problem. V delay. Okay, yep. It puts a delay in. V delete. Delete lines. Okay, so it changed my cursor color to blue. Back to white. Global delete. Local delete. Use N instead of frame character to detect bounds. Delete row at current position. V each. Do something for each item in a list. V each. Oh, okay. This might be like Xargs. V each. Turn on list sort. You can sort the list first. Nice. File. Add items to list from file. From standard input device. /I. /X. Echo. Not having any examples and not looking up instructions makes this a little bit harder. Vendor ID. Show help screen, show all aliases, show all error levels, vendor type to be entered, show vendor name for PIP, PNP vendor AAA. I'd have to know ahead of time. Show all aliases, show all error levels, see vendor ID.doc. Okay, so there's got to be a vendor ID something file out here to be able to work with this. Okay, so this is for enumerating stuff that's inside of the computer, and I would assume you'd use this inside of a batch file to do some diagnostics to say, tell me more about this. So let's do vendor. There's an example on the screen, USB, all. Where did I see that? Vendor ID, USB, all. They don't like anything I type in, even the examples. Vendor ID, USB all pipe define, H space sort /+8 more. For example, we'll sort the entire USB vendor name table by vendor name and pause after each screen. Well, if the example don't work, I can't help you. The error level, the error, that'll probably show me an error level. So let's do vendor ID to get an error, and let's do v error level to show me an error. I guess not. Okay, so this is for setting error levels, mostly for testing batch file logic. That makes sense. 255. So it gave me an error level of 255. VFD util. Font. Load a font file. I don't know what the font file names would be. Yeah, no idea. Frame. See, for Norton's batch enhancer, there was a BE demo. So there should be like a V demo that would run through all of the things that you could do with this. Because it looks like there's some missing documentation. Yeah, I could go look it up. I could go look up a demo. Stop. Draw a box. Draw a box windowing thingy and move the cursor to its inside top left position. Draw a box that encloses the entire screen. There we go. It'll draw boxes. V go to XY 2, 2. Weird. /x2 /y2. It did move to 2, 2, and then it exited. So inside of a batch file, you would do this, and then you would do the next thing. V delete 12. It deleted the next 12 rows of this. Oh, it removed them. Nice. Cool. I can see where that would be useful. V delete, V echo, V each, vendor ID, V info. General system information, V info /m. And I would need to be able to see error levels, and I still don't remember how to do that without writing a batch file. Maybe there's going to be one of these V commands that will do that. V insert should be the opposite of delete. So V go to XY, and V insert 20, and it inserts 20 rows. Hey, there we go. Now we're getting somewhere. VLine draws a line. Nice. So we could do copy con test.bat, and we could say at echo off, V go to XY /x2 /y2, V line, V delete 20. Why did it complain? Okay, that's fine. I don't know why it complained about copied 0 KB out of however many KB. So we moved to the second row, second column, and we drew a line, and then we deleted a bunch of lines. The V delete 20 doesn't seem to be doing much. But as you can see, that was kind of a real quick impromptu example. V insert, V line, V math. Don't trust V math. I'm kidding. I don't know why it did 2611. At least it's consistent. VMode. Guess that's returning the mode that we're currently in. Outputs current video mode. Yes. And see, there's the commands from the mode command. VMode mono. And it did that 40 column thing again. VMode CO80. Okay. Weird. So VMode, I gave VMode the thing to tell it to output VESA, Video Electronic Standards Association modes, which it did. And then I told VMode to change into one of those weird modes, which then set DOS crazy. And then I tried to use VMode CO80 to get back, and it wouldn't do it. So I just did mode CO80, and that got me back. VPause. Wait forever for a key press. Don't use /t, now it's D. Delay in seconds, so it will pause. So we do VPause /D10, and it does a little countdown. Nice. And then I can press a key to exit ahead of time, so I can do echo, press any key, VPause /D10. Okay, so let's do this again. clear the screen, VCLS /F cyan. Then we do echo, this is cyan, press a key. VPause /D10. I don't know why it's giving me that output. Probably a lot of people don't do that. Create files straight from the command prompt thing like I do. Test should clear the screen with cyan text, put cyan text on the screen, and then wait for 10 seconds. And I forgot the echo off. So it's hard to follow. Let's get some text on the screen, and then we'll run our test program, clear the screen. So that this is cyan, should be in cyan, but only the VCH, Veco, there is a Veco. Veco. There we go. So that probably has something to do with the ANSI driver not being loaded. No, ANSI is loaded. I don't know why it didn't respect the screen colors. It should have. Anyway, there's VPause and how VPause works. VPC speaker. I don't think this is going to work because I don't have 400 hertz or 300 milliseconds. Yeah, VirtualBox doesn't do PC speaker. So even if that did work, I wouldn't be able to tell you if it worked or not. VProgress. This is progress indicator? Oh, I spelled progress wrong. Nice. Browser progress bar at 0%. Set text, set background, set foreground, override, use N instead of frame character to detect bounds. Value, so 10. Nice. Align percentage number on the left, center, right. Okay. Will it center itself? It won't center itself. Okay, let's give it a shot anyway. There's only one S. That delay wasn't long enough. Let's do search and replace. The mouse is fast. Find. Oh, no. Replace. Search for 10. Replace with 100. Replace this. Sure. Next is F3. Yes. And we can't go 100% in the beginning. We got to go 10%. Did it again. I was busy doing the thing I was doing. Nice. Don't know why it doesn't center itself like it's supposed to. So you can do in-batch file progress indicators. So if you had to copy 4 files, then you would do 0%, copy the file in the background, 25%, copy the file in the background, 50%, copy the file, 75%, copy the file, 100%, and you're done. So now you can do fancy progress indicators. VProgress, VString. Simple string processing. Oh, nice. I can see where that would be useful. So if I wanted to remove the middle of a string, I could do that. If I wanted to add to the end or add to the beginning, I could do that. If I wanted to trim characters off the beginning or the end, and if it was space, space, name, space, space, and I said trim off the left, it would be name, space, space. If I said trim off the right, it would be space, space, name, nothing. So that makes sense. They're trying to turn DOS into a real programming language. VVer, V8 Power Tools. Oh, I've heard of V8 Power Tools before. Free software can redistribute it. So it's telling me the version of the V8 Power Tools by running the VVer command. Excellent. WDE. Interesting. It went into some kind of graphical-esque mode. Yes, I want to quit. So it's disk editor. And this one has menus instead of F keys. WDE test. Which FAT? FAT32. FAT32. So if I was going to do a floppy drive, it'd probably say FAT12. So it's telling me which file allocation table system is in use. XDEL, no, okay, XDEL. And what's on the D drive? It didn't prompt me until I pressed a key. The following file name is the name of a file list. So it will overwrite the contents of a file so you can permanently lose all of the stuff inside. Let's create an empty file on the D drive. Let's just do it here. There's a test file, xdel. That's weird that it's asking in the wrong order. Okay. So it's an extended delete program. xgrep. Okay, so that's like grep, only it is for DOS. Okay. Well, we already have a test.bat. Okay, so there we go. 0 fill. Filling with 0 empty space on drive T. Cannot get free disk space for drive T. Filling with 0 empty space on drive D. That's going to take a while. Fills with 0's empty disk space. Okay, well, there's a lot of empty disk space on the D drive. Oh, I see what it's doing. It's creating a file, and it's putting a bunch of zeros in it. VX. No. Okay, yep. So that makes sense. It created a file, and then it was just filling up the disk with... filling up that file with zeros, which would then fill up the disk with the file that had the zeros in the file, so therefore you've overwritten all the contents of the non-allocated space with zeros. So it's a good way to blank a disk in case you're trying to move a disk onto somebody else. It's not unrecoverable from, but it's also not easily recoverable from. And that is all of the COM files, and that is all of the time we have in this video. But if you look over here, there's another video I think you'll like. Thanks for being awesome.